looking at the bill, it has a short title, and it's called the Freedom of Choice Act, which of course we call FOCA, S 1173, and the House bill is HR 1964. It talks about Roe versus Wade and how the Supreme Court recognized the right to privacy that protected by the Constitution that every woman should have to weigh in her personal, moral, religious considerations when she believes that she may or may not have an abortion or terminate her pregnancy. The reason why that's of such concern is the reality is each individual state has some kind of an abortion restriction, whether it's who can perform abortions, whether it's parental consent, partial birth abortion bans, etc., time frames, waiting periods, and so forth. And what Section 13 here says is basically they're thumbing their nose at the states. So thumbing your nose at the state, federal law as well, and what happened in any court of law is what this is intending to do. Is one of the reasons why the pro-abortionists out there are so concerned and are pushing for this bill is because many women do not have abortions because they cannot find a provider. And abortion is kind of an emotional thing. When you make that decision, it's based on emotion about you, about what you can and cannot do, about what your life might be like in the future. They're not really taking into consideration the bigger picture. If they have a little bit of time and there's a buffer between running out and having that abortion and thinking about in terms of what happens to the life that that person is carrying, they usually choose not to. So having immediate access to an abortion will increase abortion rates. Most doctors, most hospitals will not perform abortions, especially late term. So the reality is those that really want an abortion will find a way to get it, but it's very difficult. This blows the doors open. You'll be able to have access to an abortion at any time, at any day, in any facility, by many providers. Each state has a little different definition of viability. For instance, in the state of Arizona, we don't actually define viability. We just basically say when the fetus can live outside of the body of the woman. That's when the fetus is viable, or the baby is viable. Particularly 27 weeks about, but it's not stated. Some states actually state a date or a time frame outside of the woman. So it's going to be dependent solely on the abortionist who's providing the abortion to the woman. I would call that a conflict of interest. The way the term reproductive health, in actuality, that's used in this bill means abortion. Provide complete access to any woman of any age. So a young child as young as 10, 11 years old, and we've heard of young women getting pregnant at that age. And obviously to any month in her pregnancy. So late-term abortions would also be legal. Civil action, suing now would be legal. If you're a doc, if you're a private hospital, you're going to have to live under this fear of either providing an abortion that you consciously, subconsciously, morally do not want to provide, or being sued. And we know that's happening already today in some areas. But do something. Take some action. We should be outraged as citizens of this country. We have freedoms that are protected, and they should rightly be so. This is a freedom that should not even be created, let alone protected at this level. Let's let our voices be heard. Let's make sure that we not only protect our futures, but the future of our country, of our citizens in our world. And everybody has the right to life. Let's make sure we fight for that.